Hello, welcome to Miss Freeman's Pre-Calculus Classroom. Today I'm going to show you the topic of library of functions. I'm going to discuss the 9 types of library of functions, which are constant, identity, square, reciprocal, cube, square roots, cube roots, absolute value, and greatest integer functions. So basically, I have a little pictorial display of what all of these types of functions are supposed to look like on the graph, including all of their equations. Now, the constant function. Number 1. The constant function, the domain of a constant function is the set of all real numbers. Its range is a set consisting of a single number, which is b. Its graph is a horizontal line, as you can see, horizontal line whose y-intercept is b. The constant function is an even function. That's one thing to remember about this. The square function, the domain and range of the domain and range of the identity function. Let's go down here. Are the set of all real numbers. Its graph is a line whose slope is m equals 1 and whose y-intercept is 0. The line consists of all points from which the x-coordinate equals the y-coordinate. Okay? The square function, the domain of the square function f is the set of all real numbers. Its range is the set of non-negative real numbers. The graph of this function is a parabola whose intercept is at 0, 0. The square function is an even function that is decreasing on the interval negative infinity 0 and increasing on the interval 0 positive infinity. Okay, so that's one thing to remember about square function. Moving on to the cube function. Okay, this is what the the equation looks like for cube function. Cube function is the domain and the range of the cube function are the set of all real numbers. The intercept of the graph is 0, 0. The cube function is odd and is increasing onto interval negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay, moving on to square root. The domain and the range of the square root function are the set of non-negative real numbers. The intercept of the graph is at 0, 0. The square root function is neither even nor odd and is increasing on the interval 0, positive infinity. Okay, that's what the equation for square root function looks like. Let's move on to cube root function. The cube root function, the domain and the range of the cube root function are the set of all real numbers. The intercept of the graph is 0, 0. The cube root function is an odd function that is increasing on the interval negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay? Remember these, okay? Reciprocal function, the domain and the range of the reciprocal function are the set of all non-zero real numbers. The graph has no intercepts. The reciprocal function is decreasing on the intervals negative infinity, 0, and 0, positive infinity, and it is an odd function, okay? Absolute value function, okay? The domain of the absolute value function is the set of all real numbers. Its range is the set of non-negative real numbers. The intercept of the graph is at 0, 0. The intercept of the graph is at 0, 0. Okay? So this is absolute function, okay? Now, the greatest integer function, the domain of the greatest integer function is the set of all real numbers. Its range is a set of integers. The y-intercept of the graph is 0. Okay? The x-intercepts lie in the interval 0, 1. And the greatest integer function is neither even nor odd. It is constant on every interval. See, these are the little intervals, okay? See this? These are little intervals. Okay, and these are the equations. Okay, so when you have problems, for example, they give you problems when they tell you to, identify certain functions. You might have to identify them just by simply looking at this. So it's important that you remember this, okay? And it's important that you remember what it looks like on the graph, so you'll be able to identify them in problems, okay? And remember what I just said about all the functions, the domains and range of each and every function, if it's even or odd. Okay? Thank you. This has been a library of functions. Goodbye.